Hi, this is Tuanni Price. Welcome to my podcast, Abroad Drinking Wine, where I'll tell the stories of locals living in Cape Town, South Africa, through food, wine, and people. Come along for the journey. Everyone, so it's Tuanni Price, owner of Zuri Wine Tasting and host of Abroad Drinking Wine. We have actually rebooted. We have actually rebooted Abroad Drinking Wine, and I'm super excited to welcome our guest today. Our guest today is Munashe Kwaramba. I'm sure I'm probably messing up the pronunciation of his last name, but Munashe is a wonderful chef. I would dare call him one of the best chefs in all of South Africa, maybe all of the world. He actually takes modern techniques and combines them with traditional African recipes to create these African fusion dishes that are simply delicious. Munashe's been featured in the New York Times. He's an award-winning chef, and he's also a sommelier. So he actually does a really amazing job of actually pairing his meals with different wines, and very superb. He's one of the special vendors that we partner with for our Sips with Soul tour. I've been supporting Munashe ever since he opened up his restaurant, Hari's Kitchen at Tapari Wine Estate. And I mean, I have not been happier since. My customers love him, I love him, and I'm super excited to welcome him to Abroad Drinking Wine. So we're just gonna give him about 2 minutes and wait for him to jump on the call. And in the meantime, you can follow him on Instagram at Hari's Kitchen. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Zuri Wine Tasting or Wine with Tuanni. And you can also go to our YouTube channel if you're not watching from our YouTube channel right now. My YouTube channel is Wine with Tuanni, and you can find all kinds of useful information there. So I'm super excited to welcome Munashe to the show. Oh, yes, there you go. We hear your beautiful voice.
Oh, wow.
Well, thank you so much. I've already told everybody all about you. That you're a chef and you're a sommelier and you make these really amazing meals. And I'm gonna show you guys, when I go to Hari's Kitchen, when I go to his restaurant, I don't even ask him what the menu is, right? I just tell him the dietary restrictions of my customers, and then he makes the magic happen. And I'm telling you, all my customers have been 110% satisfied. And he just knows people, and he knows food, and he knows wine, and he knows how to bring it all together. So that's what makes him so special. Hey, Munashe.
Hey, Tuan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Great to be here.
It's great to have you. So thank you so much for being the first guest on my rebooted Abroad Drinking Wine podcast. I'm super excited to have you. So Munashe is working today, right? So he's taking a little break from his restaurant that he owns to have this conversation. So if you see people walking in back and forth, those are customers, I presume.
Oh yes, that's some of my kids' early tasting lunch. So yeah, we're just hanging out. Yeah.
Okay, well, we won't try to keep you for too long. We'll get right into this. I'm just going to start by, I already introduced everybody to you, and I already told them that we're partnering on a really big event that I can't wait to have. And so now I just want to, welcome to Abroad Drinking Wine. And the purpose of this show is just to share my experience and introduce people that I meet while living abroad to people in the world, just so that they can get a sense of like where I am and who are the people that I'm dealing with and what's it like. So I am based in Cape
Town. Too.
I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa. Munashe is in Franschhoek? Yes. And he, like I said, he's the owner of Hari's Kitchen. All right. So, Munashe, can you tell us, where did you grow up?
This is born and bred Zimbabwean.
Nice.
Born and bred in Zimbabwe. Grew up really inspired by cooking a lot. If I look at it from perspective, as I grew up, I observed how much time I spent in the kitchen growing up. It wasn't the norm, but for a male kid to be in the kitchen, but they tend to, they liberated me to like, look, he seemed to be enjoying it. So yeah, I've always been around the kitchen, but I did not really foresee it getting me to here. The transition that brought me to the wine lens is to study engineering. I'm an electrical engineer, 10 sommelier and chef. So yeah,
I love it. So
my
growing up in the kitchen helped like some way plant the seed in your head to eventually become like a chef. But it just kind of took you a long route to get there. So
it took a
you
long route.
so you started out though. So you said that you went to school for engineering, and then when you moved to South Africa, you kind of got the wine bug, right? And that's when you became a sommelier. Well, what was the first
Wine
wine
getting
that you drank, or that what was the first wine experience that you had that made you say, "Okay, I want to become a sommelier"?
I tell you, the story goes this way. There was one of the days I went to work on a picnic, and there was a little bit of rosé there. And yeah, me and Rosette tagged along well. And look, the story did not end up the picture perfect, but I really was intrigued by how much, the flavors could be in a bottle of wine. Where I come from, alcohol is not the most social driven, but I get here, I look at other guys getting paid. I really, really wanted to get a piece of that to, you know, able to say, I work with wine and I get paid. It's a few people who could say that. I mean,
Yes,
that's the beauty about this project. Yeah.
isn't that the best thing to get paid to drink wine or get paid to share wine with people? Like I appreciate my life, right? And
I make it.
so you started off working as a sommelier and getting paid to actually like pour wine for people and things like that, right? And learn and actually get paid to learn more about wine because that's essentially what a sommelier is doing as well, right? You're getting paid
Yeah.
to learn as much as you can about wine. When did the
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship bug hit you? So like you're working as a sommelier now. How do you go from that to owning your own restaurant? Like a
So
restaurant that's been featured in the New York Times, by the way. Shout out to Munashe. Hello.
yeah. So I think the entrepreneur kicked in around 2016. I first made my maiden vintage, which it did not work out well. The one it really high VA, which was it's volatile said it. Well, it was still experimental, but I wanted to get to create something of my own that I could share. And yeah, the 2016 didn't work out, and the lessons learned was great success for my maiden vintage global sip, the were 2017, which was the first wine I ever made. And, from there, that's when I really figured out, my first bottle of wine, I sold it to some of my guests at the restaurant. So that's it. It kind of connect all in one when I recognize, well, I can make it and I have the market to sell it. And as a sommelier, a lot of people do rely on your judgment. And what I figured is people easily would accept the point of view I'm bringing to the glass. And as black people, majority, wine is something we're not accustomed to.
Mhm.
We don't know the culture very well, but able to be in the scene and making something that I would feel I could be happily to share a glass with you, you can relate. And I always talk about the African palate as well. I wanted to highlight because some of these wines are made to the drinking specifications we don't kind of own and understand. Every class of people have got their preference. So my objective was to make something I like to drink. I always say I make the food I like to eat, I make the wine I like to eat. If you get to enjoy, tag along. That's been the philosophy. I always wanted to make something I like, and like how I do the food. I cook the food I like, I share with you. It's always that been the basis of the entrepreneur for me.
I love that. And you know what I love about that whole story that you told about connecting like um community kind of with entrepreneurship, how like it kind of brings it all together, right? Like you like to sell the wine or make the wine that you like to drink, you like to cook the food that you would actually eat, right? So it's not like you're trying to reinvent the wheel, you're actually just trying to, entertain people with your own personality. That's what it sounds like. um but
I
I am curious to know, like on a Friday night when you're at home with your friends and your family, like what are you doing? What are you drinking? What are you eating? Are you cooking or is somebody else cooking? What wines are you drinking? What's going on a Friday night in French Hook, at your home?
Friday night at home is one of those days, I'm privileged. Most of my friends are still chefs and winemakers. Well, sommeliers, I call them family. I can't call them friends, those ones, because, they're the ones who bring the wine. So, on a day like that, winemakers will bring some of their unseen, untasted projects. And for the chef friends, everybody has got something. In a professional kitchen, everything is not liberty to experiment. But here is our experiment ground. We do things like, we smoke the chicken. The previous one we did smoked chicken and then was smoked with coconut shavings. Interesting things, So, and well, look, for me, it has to be a glass of rosé, most likely. I I can't,
You can't get away from
it's
your rosé.
it's unpretentious. It's most likely best priced, and I've judged rosé for 5 years for Rosé Rocks. So I mean, it's a beverage I really find bliss in. I've
What's
shared.
your style of rosé though? Like what style? Do you like it more Provence style? Do you like it more Syrah style, like a deeper, darker rosé? And look at this. I have the Tupari rosé right behind me, by the way.
I can
Um,
see right above it.
you can see that,
I,
right?
I,
But so
I
what
do.
style of rosé is your favorite, or do you not have a favorite?
For me, I'm not very, colorful rosé is one of the things that doesn't influence my judgment extremely. You know, I give a wine a fair chance. I taste it, and if it's good acidity, no, you said acidity is like a dance, man. I pick that up. But it's gotta dance a little bit in the mouth. It's gotta have complexity. The color, it has to be appealing for me to pick it, but I really would like to judge a rosé for what it tastes like. It must not be sweet, surely. The acidity should be well balanced with a little bit of that fruity tutti part. And for me,
Mhm.
that's what is funny enough? My guilty pleasure. I don't tell this to a lot of people, but uh, me the big rosé is something I get to drink here and there. I am one of those people you would open the fridge and like, oh, you having some Nidebe. It's it's big commercial made. I take responsibility for that, but I just find it's honestly what it is. If you enjoy it, it's a bliss. And for
Yeah.
me, that's, we all have got those guilty pleasures. And for me, it's need a big rose is highly unlikely for a professional to pinpoint and speculate much about.
I
But
mean, but
I
Nitterberg is
really
classic.
find it
Nitterberg is classic, and they've been doing wine for a very long time. So, like, as
exactly.
much as some people might turn their nose up at it, they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And like, they do have a recipe in the process, and it's going to be dependably the same every single year. So, I get it. If you're going to go
Yeah.
to a picnic, like, you know what? Why take some, you know,
Ah, you get me right.
yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. 100%. All right, so I have a couple more questions. All right, so
Yes.
like, let's just talk about, you've had quite a diverse and, lengthy journey in this industry, right? And multifaceted. But can you name one moment that you just had like this level up moment where you were just kind of like, you know what, this is my level up moment. This is where I'm gonna become, go from good to great. Um, have you had that moment? And what did that
I,
moment feel like? What did it look like?
I have been around culinary scene and culinary giants. Some of the big names in the food scene. Irrespectively from a sommelier point of view, and I have always observed how dining has been set up. You go to high-end restaurant that's really uptight and very, there is a space for that uptight and serious, and I always have been the funny sommelier, though despite, I never get to be as how I present wine options. It's always to open up somebody to figure out something new. So my aha moment came when I had this opportunity to designing a dining experience. I call it the sommelier and chef experience. It's food and wine together, and remove the uptight connotation. Just sit down. I will send the food and wine. Amazing quality food and great wines together, but remove that. At times, if a sommelier or chef have a combination, a pairing, and all we do is to cook for the people, but at times, we get carried away with our successes. We rely a lot more on what we have achieved. And for me, what I find is to create a dining where the guests have the ability to bring input, because it's more like data gathering. So if the rosé and the tuna works, and maybe we figure out maybe it works well with the pumpkin today, and we try it. We give it the opportunity to grow as an option. So for me, the aha moment was, let me design a dining experience where people could be as comfortable as they can be. Food and wine is intimidating,
It is.
that's a beast. Food and wine is a beast. But the way I like to approach it is to let the people approach it their best way. We talk, our oyster experience. You and me, we always run into these experience. People were like, oh, we haven't done oysters, and then we send it across. We
Yes.
we we're not pushing it too hard, but we're giving space where they could, you know, it's like somebody afraid of an elevator. You're like, look, let's just look at it, and that's the approach I take. Just a little bit of the oyster, and you've got the texture, and let the people get a chance to try. Because if the environment is intimidating, no one is willing to look not as the part, if you could get what I say.
Yes.
People willing to try something in an environment that they feel a bit relaxed. And I figured out it's the only way to let people drink red wine with crayfish. They are relaxed.
Yes, and that is one of my favorites and most surprising pairings. Yes, and and it's a Syrah at that. We have the Syrah, it's the innocent Syrah by Tapari White Estate, and he pairs it with this crayfish dish that he does. Now, for people in the United States, you guys are thinking crayfish, the little meat. No, 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 crayfish is different. That's crawfish, right? Crayfish is more similar to lobster in South Africa. So they're big, like, they're like small lobsters or medium sized lobsters, lobster tails. And then he does them in this sauce that's delicious. And then he pairs it with this Syrah. And oh my God, it's like magic in your mouth. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, it's for me that was the aha moment. I figured out if people are in an environment where they feel safe, they're
Mm-hmm.
more likely to I it's not everywhere you sit down and people say bring it on. Like people
Yeah.
like, no, don't bring us many.
And tell me
It's
what you
it's
think. And that's what I love about like Menashe too, because he's like, okay, tell me, here's the pairing. It might be something that you're not used to, but just try this. And then you let me know how you feel about it, right? And then if they're like, I don't like it, he's like, okay, that's cool that you don't like it, but here, try this. And I love that you have like very little ego when it comes to food and wine. And so you're kind of like, let's just go for this journey. That's how I feel like when I'm having lunch at your place, that's what I feel like. You're like, okay, let's just hop on this journey and let's just do it, right?
Yeah. I find that it's the relaxation when you don't force people to be reactive. They it's crazy enough to chat with you about this. I was looking at it, about 70% of my guests do the pairing experience.
Wow.
So
70%.
yeah,
And I mean, I would recommend that they all do the parent experience. I mean, experience. Yeah, just let him do what he does. And like my guests will be like, well, what's on the menu? What's on the I'm like, I don't know what's on the menu. I said, I never ask him what's on the menu. Sometimes I might freak out and I might start. And he's always like, Tuanni, just calm down. You know I got you. I got you. And I love it because he always comes through. Okay, so listen, we have a little bit more time
yeah.
left, and I want to get down to knowing and letting people know exactly who you are. So can you just describe your most authentic self, like yourself with, you know, no pressure, no rules, no regulations, like who are you as a human?
Tuan, I think this is the first time I come across it in this manner, but I'll answer this. I think I'm a regular, any, you know,
Like, what
a
would your
regular
mama say
person.
about you? That I mean, you know what? I think I'm going to change this question. I'm going to say, how would your mama describe you, right? How would your mom? Because our mothers know us best. They're the only people in the world, except for I
Yeah.
have a twin sister, who have known me my entire life.
And I think she would say this is a child with, I've been always vocal, spoken wise. I enjoy people, and of lately, I find myself in a space where I'm interested in knowing more about the people I serve. I'm really fundamentally based on service. Either friend, either guest. How can I be at your service? How can I serve you? Because I find out it brings back, people speak good of you when you're not there, and
Yes.
that's really is I'm my objective is to be at service. Uh, how best can I be helpful to you, to somebody next, and how also in my profession is how can I create an experience you can't forget. It's my intention. Somebody walks in here, I want them to go back in the US, in everywhere in the world, to say, look, we did had this trip, and what was the highlight. I wish to be just the most highlight. I am service oriented. I like to give others my time. I find out I get paid a lot more than I anticipate
Yes.
in
Yes.
in the return value. And I mean, paid not in monetary terms only.
Yeah.
Like I said, people have said something good about me. Now, word of mouth is something I believe in. But yeah, for me personally, I'm very, it's me. You're gonna run into me the same way every day. I don't have a bad day, unfortunately. I don't have a bad day.
I love it. I think that we get along so well and we have such a great business partnership because we think the
Yeah,
same way, right? Like, I
true.
think you are such a generous spirit, like a generous soul, right? And when I say that, I don't mean I don't go into your restaurant and expect freebies or anything like that. But you give so much. Like you prepare this food, but it comes with so much more, like the service aspect of it, the care. It's like you can literally taste all of this in the food. So like I definitely agree with you when you say that service is probably one of the highlights of your experience. And for me, that just means that you have this really generous spirit that just shares so much love. So yeah, I agree with that. I love your authentic self, and you do show up every day. I mean, and you know what? And I think people, when, because you're kind of like me, I say, you know what? I don't really have any bad days. Now, I mean, there are some days when I don't feel 100% like cheery, happy, but like I'm always so
Yeah.
grateful. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
the gratitude that, you know, I
Gratitude.
have. And
Gratitude is
it's
gratitude is definitely
it's gratitude because every single day I wake up and I have what I need. Now, you know, some days I wake up and I have a lot more than what I need. And I'm like, yo, yay, let the blessings rain down. But every single day I wake up and I have what I need. So, like, how could you have a bad day? Right?
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You know, next one.
Are you ready?
What's
Next one. All right. So the next question is who are some of the people that you admire in your industry? So who are some of the people that you admire? Maybe who's somebody who's helped you or somebody who you look up to, you aspire to be like, or you know.
you know, there's one person I've not get a chance to really reach out on one on this. Harold of Aubergine, man, is a
Oh,
genius.
he's amazing. I love Harold. Hey Harold.
And if you look at my aspiration philosophy of being a chef and a sommelier, there is some elements of his influence there. You know, I've enjoyed his food a few several times, and you know, his approach is one that is uh, very observant to the wine associated with the food, and you know that's the gift of being a chef and a sommelier. Most of the chefs who are in, I would say, hardcore classically trained, it took a while before they kind of understand. You know, some of the chefs at times they ask me, so what is it you really do? And
Mhm.
the answer is always, I am a sommelier at heart. That does not go anywhere. And I'm a chef by obsession of food. It is proven. And I don't celebrate each individually. I look at it as a combination of both, you know, food and wine. I don't sell it, you know, for a chef, you know, in broad term of chef, they are, I think, monomaniacally focused on the food, which is, you know, it brings up a different element of artistic. And for sommeliers, they monomaniacally on the wine. And my focus is the both. I just, you know, I tread on when they meet, the axis they meet. That's, you know, I don't, you know, I would say I will not be very happy with an accolade that will be renowned me as a greatest chef or a greatest sommelier. It's, for me, I don't think I would be as pleasantly fulfilled. What I would like to create is this new category in the dining scene where people like me get recognized for the combination,
You
not
know,
the
in
individualness.
you know what, in the United States, there's a title. You can actually take a course and you can get certified in it. I have a friend who's certified in it. And it's called a chef of wine arts, something like that. A chef of wine arts. And I
It's
love that
interesting.
because I feel like that's who you are. It's like chef of wine arts. But you know what? We're not going to discount if, you know, the Eat Out Awards wanted to name you chef of the year. You know what? We'll
I
take
mean,
that.
we
We'll
won't
we'll, we'll take it 100%.
take it.
I'm putting that in the universe. All right.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then we
most
can
definitely.
work on Eat Out Awards having a Chef of Wine Arts as a category, and then like
Yeah,
maybe you'll be the first recipient for that. All right, so
I
we
do
we
believe.
actually have to wrap up. We have like just a few more minutes left, right?
All
So
right.
there's a couple things I want to do. The first is I have this list of cozy corner questions, right? And so these are
All
meant
right.
to be quick fire questions, 1 to 3 word answers. I'll ask the
All right.
questions and then you just give me your answers as fast as you can. All right. So these are our
Listen,
cozy corner
I'm ready.
questions. Are you ready? All right, let's go.
I am.
First question is, and this is you, but I'm just going to say it in the personal version, right? When I drink wine, I get what? When you drink wine,
Happy.
you get what? Happy. I love it.
I get happy.
My favorite person to drink wine with is?
I am happy to drink with you, Tuan. Oh, that's always a great glass.
I love
I
that.
tell you, that's a minute.
I prefer my wine pink.
Cold.
Okay, cold. Okay, cold and pink. I'm sure I know you by now after this. The best wine I ever tasted was,
Portmascop.
ooh, nice. Given the opportunity, I would travel to for wine. I would travel to blank for wine.
Australia.
Okay. If you could give the world a gift, it would be,
A bottle of Lomarins. A bottle of Normandy Anno Red Blend.
okay, okay. Beach, mountain, or forest?
Mountain.
Mhm. People don't know that I am.
Always fun.
I love it. All right. So you did very well. No pressure, no pressure. You handled it. All right. This is our last question. And this is probably my favorite question. And I forgot where I heard this quote, or but I heard somebody say this. And so I want to get to know this from a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
So the quote is, do it for the people who believe in you. That's the quote. I don't remember who said it, but they said, do it for the people who
I
believe
missed
in
it.
you. Huh? And so I want
I
to
missed it.
know, huh? You missed it.
Yes. The
No,
signal
no, I didn't
ran
ask
off
the
the ad.
question yet. I didn't ask the question. That's the quote. The quote is, do it for the people who believe in you. The question is, who are some of the people who believe in you? Because you're doing what you do for the people who believe in you, right? So who are these people who believe in you?
I find the people who believe in me the most is my team because they believe in me because I find out from not being a business owner, not being a chef, them to sacrifice their lifetime to take along with me for the purpose of hoping that this will be one of the greatest restaurants. I do believe my staff is the people I do for because family is always gonna be there and friends gonna be always be there, but there is one part I think most will overlook is the people who spend these man hours with me creating and be there,
Wait, what happened? Did we lose him? That was perfect, though. That was so perfect. Wow, Chef Munashe is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You guys did, what did I tell you? I told you he was like one of the most, he's like one of the most, he's the best, one of the best chefs in South Africa. And he's just like one of the most beautiful human beings. And he's so generous. And just to hear him talk about his team and his hope for his restaurant, Harvey's Kitchen, which he opened about 2 years ago, I'm super, super excited for his young business. And I'm excited that his business is growing and it's getting the recognition that it deserves. If you're ever in South Africa, if you're ever in Cape Town, please make a journey to Harvey's Kitchen in Franschhoek. You will not be disappointed. You can experience the magic for yourself. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in. This was an amazing abroad drinking wine. Don't forget to check out Harvey's Kitchen on Instagram. Don't forget to go to Zuri Wine Tasting on Instagram. And if you have any comments or questions, you can always just put them in the comment section below. Thank you, thank you, thank you.